Q&A at the end. I think, this is a shortest type session, and there's quite a lot of content to go through. So we will keep the questions and collate those all at the end and answer those as we go through. Of course, we will send out the presentation following the event, as well as all of our details and contact details. So please, if anybody has additional questions or would like to speak about anything in particular, please reach out to us. Today we have Paul Bonhutter, who is an Ivanti guru, has been working with Ivanti and Front Range for many, and previously Front Range for many years. Is a absolute expert on ISM and on what is and the neurons and the new neurons that Ivanti has put together, and he will be taking us through the new ISM features and functions within the neurons offering. We then have Manoj, who's going to take us through. He's one of our product managers at Blue Turtle. He'll take us through, where we're seeing market trends, what people are doing generically in the market, what we're seeing from our investigations to where people are investing money, and through our own experiences with our customers. And then, I think probably what is very useful is we will then take you through a couple of customer use cases, and what some of our customers have done with the Ivanti product set and what they are looking to do, and the current projects that we're with. So, please enjoy. As I said, questions in the question and answer icon. I think you can click on it. It's got like a question mark, and that will be moderated. And enjoy the event, and I will speak with you at the end. Hand over to Paul without further ado. Paul.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited to be here today. This is, of course, an opportunity to present and showcase some of the amazing work our product management team have accomplished, along with our developers, and of course, with all the help from our customers, right? So some of the features and some of the content you'll be seeing today came about directly as a result of customer interactions. So very excited. I wish we could be in person, but this is second best. But at least we get to see what we have showcased. So just going to start off within my session, just having a look at Service Manager, where we've been, where we are currently, where we're going, some really exciting features coming up on the roadmap to help us all shift left. You've all heard the term. We're going to have a look at some of our line of business content. Major focus has been around building out pre-canned line of business content, and we'll be having a look at that and talking about some of the future work we're doing. Then having a look at our chat and our Teams integration, what we've been doing with that, Microsoft Teams. We're going to do a little bit of a short demo there as well, just to show you some of the capabilities. And then I'm going to introduce you to Ivanti Neurons, both for workspace and for healing, that really do complement our Service Manager platform around helping our service desk agents remediate a lot of the issues up front. And obviously from a healing perspective, allowing our bots in the background to pick up and to remediate some of the issues that are plaguing our end user devices, and we'll be showcasing how we can do that. And then of course we're going to touch on what we're going to be offering in the next session around IT asset management, but I digress. So let's continue. As is usual with all vendors, I have to put in a confidentiality notice. We are talking about a roadmap, of course, going forward. So consider my part done, right? I don't expect you all to read this, although there is a survey afterwards, and if you don't answer this correctly, then we might mark you negatively. Only kidding, but this is just to obviously state that, this is all confidential and subject to change. Right, so of course in the news, right, everyone has heard and has been made aware of, and if not, now is the opportunity for me to speak about our recent acquisitions around bolstering our security and our unified endpoint management stack. So we're very, very proud as Ivanti to welcome on board our Mobile Iron colleagues and our Pulse Secure colleagues into our stable. And we are really, really excited about what those technologies are going to bring our product stables and our solution sets, right? So this is really a time for us to have a look at introducing mobile management, enterprise mobility management is key for us going forward. Having a look from a Pulse Secure point of view, how we can bolster our Zero Trust access control, VPN, NAC, IoT security, secure remote access, etc. So excited about these two acquisitions. Of course, there is another acquisition on the cards. We are looking right now at finalizing the Sherwell acquisition, and also very excited about what that's going to offer our customer base from a service management perspective. So great things happening on the M&A side. I'm really, really proud to be part of that, but more proud to be part of and to be able to talk about our Gartner Magic Quadrant announcement. So we really, really did a huge amount of work, and we invested time also with our customers, with the peer reviews. We spent time with Gartner, and we're very proud to announce that we have been nominated and accepted as #1 for intermediate INO 2020 Gartner capabilities. So fantastic achievement on the parts of really everyone that's involved with the Service Manager platform. And of course, I've been involved, as Simon quite rightly said, for many, many years. I'm not going to divulge how many years, but suffice it to say, it is really fantastic for us to present top right? We, through our, our vision, through our challenge, the challenges we've adopted, through all the work that we've put into this space, we've now joined the Leaders Quadrant. Very, very proud of that. And of course, from an ITIL 4 perspective, we have been certified with 11 practices, which is more than any vendor at this point in time. So very, very proud about our accomplishments in these areas. And of course, you can pop across to goivanti.com, and there's a downloadable report that you can take a look at that goes into a lot of details. And if you want to have a chat with me about this, later on in the week, anytime, let's certainly chat about our exciting journey in the Matrix Quadrant. So very, very happy about that. However, that's not only what we're going to be discussing today, right? Because what we want to certainly have a look at is what we have accomplished in 2020. Now, 2020 was, albeit a crazy year for all of us, especially on this call, right? Businesses were turned upside down. We had to reinvent the way we work completely, and we did that with great success, and very true on the Service Manager side. We really, from our 2020.1 release, we bolstered our mobile analyst capability. So that was really, really great. We spending a lot of time understanding what it is that our customers are expecting from our mobile solution. And that started out in 2020.1, and we extended that with a lot of work in 2020.3 to be able to also have our mobile analysts create and update service requests, and also to be able to view and update configuration items. And the reason we focused on this a little bit as well was because of all the work we're doing with asset management, right? And with the mobility around asset management, which we'll discuss in the next session. A little bit of seed dropping is going to happen throughout this session, by the way. So we're very excited about what we're going to be doing on the mobile side from an asset management point of view regarding barcode scanning, etc. So great to see that, and obviously that'll come out. We also, in 2020.1, just briefly, some of the key technical areas, we released OAuth support for Exchange web services. That came out as well. We also bolstered our single sign-on. And of course, we enhanced after we released our HR content, right? So part of the, and that comes in my next slide, our additional line of business content, we also looked at that in 2020.1, 2020.2. We also had a look at releasing some of our endpoint management integration capabilities. And so those are natively accepted, available to our service manager customers. So if you're a service manager customer and an endpoint manager customer, you can, through a service request, request a piece of software, and that software can be automatically deployed out to you. That doesn't require any manual updates. And then 2020.3, big one for us as well. Security operations. So, after HR came facilities management, which we'll discuss next slide. After facilities came our security operations, pre-built content as well, so we can have a look at ingesting events from security applications. Rapid7 being one of those options, from VM Insights, so I can have a look at automatically receiving these events. There's pre-built configuration that is available to you, and also having a look at our Splunk integration, right? So that's all was part of our 2020.4 drop, where we included the ability to integrate these events from both Rapid7 and Splunk. So very excited about that. Of course, a lot of work was affected with chat as well. So being able to not only bolster our native chat capabilities within platform, but obviously also within 2020.4, taking a look at our Microsoft Teams integration. Very excited about that. In fact, when we launched this and we showcased this to a lot of our customers, our beta customers as well, that were taking a look at this, the feedback was tremendous. So just, talking about some of our capabilities, people were really, really intrigued at what we had accomplished. And you'll get to see a little bit of that as well today. So the Ivanti Neurons integration updates in 2020.3, also quite important when we were looking at bolstering the interoperability between Service Manager and Neurons, and we're going to be talking about that in more detail. Just watch out for our Q2, which is from about April timeframe, when we start looking at introducing our bots, AI, and machine learning into Service Manager with Neurons. I was so excited when I heard about this, as to how it's going to assist us with proactive problem management, with automatic incident categorization, and workflow management. We learning from our past incidents. I digress, I'm jumping ahead, but exciting times. So last but not least, just to talk to this, we've had some customizable homepage work on our ESM platform, and you'll see this when I go through a little bit of a demo. You'll see how we've changed the Service Manager landing page as our first step to bolster our MSP offering going forward, but also understanding that, hey, if we onboarding a whole lot of different business units, the self-service portal needs to reflect those changes, right? It needs to allow a user to start off and go, hey, what am I doing here? Am I going to HR? Am I going to facilities, SecOps? What is my point of reference? And I can focus in, hone on that. And then when I drill down into it, you'll see how my self-service experience is more focused to what it is that I'm actually looking for. Right, so those are some of the key highlights that we introduced in 2020. 2021 is going to be fantastic. So I'm going to go and we'll have a look at the roadmap a little bit later, but let's take a look at some of the line of business changes we did. So as I mentioned earlier on, we have released recently SecOps, but then we also looked at human resources, at facilities management. And this is really great because what we're doing here is we've introduced the whole concept of being able to totally segregate what it is we're doing within Service Manager for HR and for facilities. And when we have a look at the demo quickly, we can see what I mean by that. But each of these content packs, if you want to call them, are available to you with extra roles, a whole new set of workspace items. We've got a whole set of predefined and pre-configured service requests that are available to you. You can flesh them out as you already know. Service requests within Service Manager are some of our key features, so you can modify them if you need to. You can change some of the workflow, but we've spent a lot of time building those out for you. So please feel free to enjoy those. From an HR perspective, also looking at time tracking against projects, so that's also a new capability there. Looking at facilities management, everything from managing our reactive to our scheduled work orders, having a look at how we can introduce locations with buildings and floors and cubicles and offices and assets and building that into play, and then looking also at how we can automate some of the scheduled maintenance capabilities. So really, really great content. The feedback from our customer base has been fantastic. We've had a lot of customers onboarding already. And again, you're using the same platform, right? And you're not having to make an incident, an IT incident look like or feel like an HR work order, an HR case or a facilities work order or a security incident. So, really good to be able to flesh these out. So as we talk about that, let's go and have a look at some of this quickly. I'm just going to pop into this little section over here, and there we go. You can see this is part and parcel of our new landing page for self-service, and this is obviously all configurable. And those of you that have very strict marketing teams, that are interested in RGB values and gray tones and pink tones and general color tones, we've got all that information for you. But you can go ahead and you can configure your landing page. And as you can see in my example, what I've effectively done is I've broken this up into different areas, right? I've said, well, we can go IT services, HR services, facilities, security operations, whatever it might be, and that'll land you onto the next section. So this is a great, and the reason I started with this is it's a great way for me to introduce what it is we're doing once you've gone into the next portion, right? So you can see over here everything that I'm looking at, and of course the facility service portal can be different in terms of all the widgets that are available to you, the colors, the backgrounds, the functionality, whatever it might be, is all available to you to change and to modify, right? So facilities and HR and marketing and finance and procurement can all have a completely different look and feel. And notice, as I'm here, everything that I'm looking at, especially from a news and announcements perspective and a knowledge articles perspective, is facilities focused. So yes, when it comes to creating announcements and alerts that are specific to facilities, I have that capability as well. So there's that lovely separation between that. So I'm not interested right now in what's happening within IT. I'm interested in the announcement from facilities, right? So what is the global planned return to offices? I can drill down into that and see some of that info. I can't wait for that time. Although we do work from home, that's generally speaking, it'll just be so great to be able to meet with you as customers outside of these virtual events. But anyway, so we can have a look at the news and announcements. We can have a look at specific knowledge articles for the line of business app. So here, how do I raise a facilities management work order, or what's the general fire drill procedure for all offices? I can have a look at some of this extended detail. And then of course, why not have a look at my open tickets, right? So you can see here, I've booked a conference room. So there's a conference room reservation. It's been submitted for an event that I'm holding in the future, and I can take a look at some of those details, right? But the idea here as well is then to drill down into the service catalog and to have a look, as you can see on the left-hand side, to focus primarily on that which is important to me right now, which is facilities management. So the idea here then is to go and have a look at some of these rich service requests, and you can see we've designed everything from requesting landscape services for pest control. I don't know about the general audience, but I have never seen so many ants in my entire life. So I've raised a few of these service requests, trust me. Whether it's looking for new lighting or moving offices or changing, whatever it might be, we've certainly catered for a lot of detail here that you can go ahead and copy out, you can change, or you can configure to your requirements. And then each of these, obviously, as you are accustomed to, we can drill down into them and we can get this additional rich information around this is a pest control service. And notice here I'm dealing with locations, building, work order types. I'm not dealing with incidents. I'm not dealing with anything IT related. So quite important for us to also realize that and see that rich data that's available to us. When we're in the application itself, immediately what I'm presented with, once I'm part of facilities management, I could be the facilities administrator or the facilities manager or analyst. I can then take a look at all these active service requests, all these active work orders, tasks that are on my desk, that are part of my responsibility. And again, this is something that is for my attention, right? And it could also be, you can see at the bottom, we're dealing with external tasks because we deal with contractors, right? We deal with contractors from a facilities point of view. But the idea here, and I'm not going to go into all the detail around the content, is just to show you how we've changed the workspaces and we've enhanced the workspaces specifically around facilities. And exactly the same would be true when we taking a look at some of the other content. But as an example over here, I can have a look at my facilities locations. And from a locations point of view, I can then drill down into, let's say, for example, Ireland, and I can have a look at all my different island buildings, and I can drill down into those buildings, and I can have a look at some of the floor details. I can then go into some of those floor details, etc. So you can see the content really is specific to what it is we're looking at from a line of business perspective. Even building out our preventative maintenance schedules and being able to understand what is what our monthly schedules look like, what our weekly, hourly schedules look like, whatever it might be. We've pre-built this content again for you just to go ahead and change slightly to meet your requirements. And exactly the same is true if we were to pop over to HR. So again, our workspace would change, and we'd be able to see that now we are more focused on what is to do with HR. So our HR cases, HR requests, announcements, whatever it might be, our HR knowledge. And now my focus on the dashboard is obviously HR related. And you'll see when we have a look and talk about the roadmap, how we extending that out even further going forward. In fact, our next content that we're dropping this quarter is for DevOps. So very excited about that one. We've had a lot of requests for it, and we'll certainly be showcasing that later this quarter. Right, so let me shrink that back down and let's continue. So here we go. This is the SecOps content that I was talking about earlier on. This is where we've also configured the integration between Splunk, and we've also added Rapid7 now with VM Insights. So a lot of great work there that has allowed us to create that integration. Moving forward, our self-service chat, and this has been extended and enhanced in 2020.3. And the great news for our on-premise customers is that the chat is now available to our on-premise customers in 2020.4, our latest release, which has already deployed to our cloud customers, but for our on-premise customers, the drop is happening imminently now, any day, where you'll be able to then load up, upgrade to 2020.4, and you'll have the chat facility available to you. And of course, we've enhanced it over time. Yes, it is available on our mobile devices. So no matter if I'm on my laptop, if I'm on my phone, my tablet, it does not matter. I can go and have a look. I can request a chat session. I can have a look at who's available. Our chat analyst now, as part of our new enhancement in 2020.3, the actual service desk agent can have a look at multiple chats. They can work between multiple chats. So that was our first enhancement over there. So really excited about what that's offering. And it's great from a service manager point of view, because if a customer is interacting with me from our mobile chat platform or from Microsoft Teams, we don't really care. This is part of our omni-channel offering, where we're going to be looking at, as time goes on, we'll have all of these integrations available with all these chat sources, or you may have your own chat sources that we could integrate with, and these are all channeled into a single view for our service desk analyst. So we'll be taking a look at that now. But that, of course, preempts what we're discussing around 2020.4, and that's the Microsoft Teams integration. This is really where we can start looking at being able to offer some great capabilities. I'm going to demo this, so don't worry about all the slide details. We're going to be sharing this slide deck with you, but suffice it to say that I can now start interacting with my service desk analyst from a Teams perspective. So let's go and take a look at that. So let me introduce you to what I call the African ISM bot. This is just a little bot that you create for yourselves within Microsoft Teams. You can go ahead and literally use any instance around that. But if I just pop out now, and I'm going to just go into here as admin, you'll see we can start having a dialogue of sorts, and we can start this whole process. But first and foremost, you'll notice with Alan, I've got a little chat icon sitting at the top here. No one's available right now, but of course, if we had to start that conversation with Teams now, it would tell me that. But I want to turn chat on. I want to be available for any interactions, and there we can see straight away it's gone green. We're good to go, and we can go ahead and say, right, I want to do something. The great thing is I can just tap into a message, and it says, hey, what can I do? Well, we can tell you what you can do. There's a whole bunch of little options that you can set up here. I can start a chat with your service desk analyst. I can end a chat if I'm done with it. I can create a new support ticket. So this is not only just being able to start a chat session. This is also looking at creating a new incident, or even getting an update on an existing incident, right? So I could also go and have a look at doing that. But if I wanted to start a chat, it's just a simple case of popping through, and we're going to get a notification. It's going to come back to us and say, hey, yep, Paul, great. Here we're going to see who's available. We're connecting you with Alan Taylor. So it's found Alan, and you'll notice at the top here, Alan's got a little notification, and he can click onto it. He can click in and say, hey, Paul Manager would like to have a chat with you. And I'm like, yeah, great. Let's have a chat with Paul Manager. And so the conversation starts, right? So Paul Manager here is going, hey, my printer is dead. Right, we've got a printing issue, so we can have a little bit of a chat here, and you can see we can go backwards and forwards, and we can give our empathy. I'm so sorry, but of course, at this point in time, it might be a case of wanting to say, all right, I will raise a ticket for you. I'll raise a ticket, there we go, and we can do that, and you can have a little bit of a chat going on, and of course within the chat for Paul, or for Alan Taylor rather, he can go and create an incident, and he can take all the dialogue that came from that incident. We can go and have a look at putting that in automatically. There's an incident created, and it's saved in there for us, right? And immediately that incident number's fed back to myself. So Paul Manager's got this incident number. It's great. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. We've gone through that process. So a simple option like that of being able to create an incident from an analyst point of view. Of course, from this perspective, Paul could go ahead and say, well, he's not going to ask that one, but he could say, hey, I'd like to go and look at, maybe some of my other incidents, because obviously I know the incident, with this. It's going to go and check. Notice what's happened. Paul's disconnected. Why? Because we're no longer chatting, right? So this is another great feature where I can move along. So I can just literally have a look at a previous incident, and it's going to go ahead and tell me that this status is logged, right? So it's just been raised, hasn't been classified or routed off to an individual yet, but obviously I can then start taking a look at this chat. So just an introduction into what we're doing with Microsoft Teams. Of course, as I mentioned earlier on, we could also go ahead and have a look at creating an incident if I want to do from the chat session. So I'll just quickly do that because it's a great little way to end off. So it's just going to go back and say, hey, I'd like to create an incident. What's your subject? So you can say, well, as an example here, I'm looking for new VPN settings. Okay, and then we can give some of the details. By the way, as part of our chat drop in 2020.4, we're also going to be allowing the option from a mobile point of view or from a customer point of view on laptops to be able to drag and drop or just copy and paste images, so rich text into the chat windows, which is fantastic. Yeah, so change VPN, please. So I've got some of those details. We can go into it. And now it's going to go ahead and it's going to finish off, that incident for me. Again, there we go, created an incident. I haven't interacted with an agent yet, but of course, from an agent perspective, we do have a bit more than just, saying, hey, I can have a chat with this particular user, then I can quit. I do have a service desk chat dashboard that's also available to me that allows me to have a look at all the chat interactions, right? Because I might want to have a look at these slightly separately. So being able to have a look at all active chat sessions, being able to have a look at my active team chat by priority, etc. So just building out some of that content from a chat perspective for you. Great, let's go ahead and continue. So as I mentioned earlier on, great delivery that we've had thus far in 2020. 2020.1 though is really starting to look good. So first of all, if I can introduce Ivanti Neurons for healing within ISM, and of course you're going right now, hey Paul, but hang on a minute, what is this Ivanti Neurons for healing? Well, we're going to be seeing a little video on that straight after this, right? But effectively what healing is, it's a whole set of bots that we've designed that allow us through configured workflow to be able to go and have a look at your estate and have a look at any trends that it picks up around possible device issues, possible user issues, and it then goes out with that workflow and it tries to remediate them, right? So it goes ahead and it really is around self-healing. So it's trying to go and say, right, you've got all these little workflows we've designed for you. We've picked up as an example that there are potential blue screen issues. We've seen the blue screen issues. We can't yet remediate them, but we might be able to automatically create a ticket in ISM. That's one of the options. Right now it's going the other way. So our integration point is saying, well, from an end user perspective and an analyst perspective, we're introducing the capability starting off from an end user to be able to do a knowledge search and say, hey, I'm searching for, I'm saying, I want you to try and fix something for me. So as an example, using natural language, I could go into the knowledge base and say, I'm battling with hard drive space. And based on that, it can come back and say to you, would you like me to check? And I'll say, yes, it'll go check the hard drive space. And at the same token, it can free some of that hard drive space for you without actually having to interact with an agent. So those are the types of remediations we can start looking at. The analyst can also trigger neurons for healing by doing knowledge article searches, and we can help drive and automate some of that process. And of course, the automation behind that is also delivered through the Service Manager workflow tool. And quick actions can also do this. So, I mean, you're familiar from a Service Manager point of view with our quick actions, where it automatically executes a set of steps, right? But now this could be, hey, I want to execute a quick action on this end user's device that is going to stop a rogue service, as an example, or execute a PowerShell, or do something specific to try and help remediate a particular instance. So very excited about how the interaction between our bots and the service management interface is going to help us literally get rid of some of those incidents as and when users pick them up. And even, of course, we want to remediate some of these before. And then going on is we're also having a look at neurons for service automation. Ooh, so this is now going a little bit further, where we're saying, well, let's take our automation bots and how can we look at automation tickets, right? So one of the key requirements and requests that we've had for quite a while now is to say, how can we automatically categorize and route tickets from all incoming sources? Yes, and the answer is yes. So this for me is one of the great ones, because I've really been waiting for this for a while. You know, incident management is incident management is incident management. But if I can help automate the categorization and routing, I'm going to make sure those tickets get routed, categorized correctly, routed correctly to the right second and third level individuals, if and only if we can't remediate them up front, right, with the healing platform in any case. And of course, part of that is also from a conversational automation point of view. So I want to be able to use the neurons, because they're going to be monitoring and detecting issues and interacting with end users, you know, and in the channel. So if an end user goes on to chat, or if an end user, you know, uses Teams even to interact with that later on, they can use natural language to try and ask, you know, certain questions to help with that healing process, if we can automate the healing behind that, right? And also, again, extending on the natural language search. But for me, what is important as well is to be able to look at unsupervised analysis of incident data, for us to be able to look at proactive problem management, right? We've always been asked this question, Paul. We've got so many incidents that have been raised. How can we be proactive in problem management? How can we identify that there's been an increase in a certain type of ticket over the last 3 or 4 hours? Well, don't worry about that. You know, we're going to be using some of our AI to be able to do that for you, and raise problem records automatically, even look at grouping common incidents around those problem records automatically and routing them off to the right team. So super excited about that. And then, of course, when we're having a look at the user experience for end users and analysts, we're changing up the way our UI is being offered. So this you will see come out incrementally over the next year. And really what we're doing is we say, we don't care any longer what device you're using. We want a common user experience, a modern user experience that's consistent, right? We don't care what you're using. It must be consistent. It must have a single design. We don't want multiple designs, and we must be able to support multiple devices. So very excited about that as well. And then, of course, last but not least, the self-service experience. This is where we're going to enable administrators to define list views that will give key information to users at a glance, right? So as opposed to going into self-service and going, let me go and look at my items, and then in my items, I'd like to go and have a look at my service requests or not, and then I'm going to go back and have a look at my incidents or not, or my approvals. No. What we're doing here is we're building up a configurable list view that is user-friendly. So I can literally, as you can see on screen, we can just have a look at a single page, and we can get the key areas, the key items that are high on your priority list back to you, and feed that information back to you with some increased widget data. So very excited about that. And moving swiftly along, I'm just cognizant of my time, and we still got to have a look at neurons. This is what our roadmap looks like, you know, going forward. What we're offering, obviously, is the ability to, as you can see through all our quarters, big one this quarter is to have a look at the DevOps content, also having a look at the neurons for healing that I've just described, looking at that being incorporated, having a look at a more configurable homepage in Q2 going on, and offering neurons for ISM on-premise, right? So some of the key capabilities also around turnkey CMDB and turnkey AMDB for asset management, looking at introducing that in Q2. Also very excited to announce dependency mapping as an available option to purchase, that we're going to be implementing within service management in Q2. There's a key point there. Working again on our self-service, our user preferences, our favorites, chatbot, increasing our integration capabilities, having a look into Q3, where we're going to start launching out some of these key UI changes, knowledge enhancements, but really Q3 for us is all around UI. And then obviously Q4, we're having a look at the next level of chat integration, the next level of MSP customer personalization. So if you are looking at an MSP model and how your customers can personalize their own experience across different companies, that's what we're going to be looking do as well. Although we can't share this specific roadmap with you, there will be a customer-friendly, if you want to call it, roadmap that we're going to obviously make available to you after this. Neurons. Now we can finally get to the point. I've spoken about it, previously in the session, but this is where we're looking at our ability to use our cloud platform right now to be able to promote the ability to automatically pick up issues, to be able to remediate and sort out those issues, no matter what that endpoint device is. So going across to also securing, so adaptive security, being able to build out our auto remediation process to prevent security vulnerabilities and anomalies. Like as an example, I don't want to have an issue where I've got all my firewalls turned off, my public-facing firewalls turned off. No, I want them turned back on again. And in the same process, I want to prevent users from being able to change it, all without touching an endpoint or having somebody else there touch that endpoint. And in self-service, you've heard about what we've spoken about from a self-service point of view, right? Where we want to offer our Neurons capabilities to our end users to be able to use natural language and our AI capabilities to remediate some of the issues. So really, really important for us to be able to have a look at how we can do this. So within the Neurons platform, these are the different areas. There are two additional spaces that have opened up, by the way. So there's two additional Neurons, one of which I'll touch on towards the end, and that's spend intelligence. There's also Neurons for patch intelligence that helps us with our security patching. And those were introduced this year, so very, very stoked about those. And then these are our kernel or our base Neurons, covering everything from discovery to be able to use that discovered data, device, user, software, and to be able to ask real-time queries against that in edge intelligence, to be able to use the Neurons workspace, which we'll see next, to help us isolate issues as a second level or as a first or second level analyst, where I can remediate a lot of these issues. I can even go into remote control if I need to, if I can't remediate something without having to go onto the user's device, which we really don't want to have to do. And then Neurons for healing this is the automation perspective, right? This is where we can start building our customer workflows to look at those key areas in our organization that we want to prevent from happening, making sure those are closed down, having events driven out of that we can react to, raise incidents against, and make sure that we're having somebody work on those that aren't healed, as an example. And if we have a look at workspace, this is really what we're trying to solve with workspace. So the idea behind this is we're saying, we want to be able to say, with the growth of all these additional devices, with the fact that our users are working from home now, and there's so many additional complexities that come with that. Even if they are filtering back into the office, we've still got a large contingent of the workforce at home. How do we get rid of these common difficulties? All these different tools we're using. Some tools might not work across, for home workers. Some might, but I've got to use multiples. The learning curves to administrate these. The skills gap between first and second and third level support. How can we have the workspace normalize some of that going forward, right? So that's really what our vision is around workspace. So giving this 360-degree view of our devices, our users, our apps, services, being able to allow our first-line analysts to resolve those issues. So we just really want to cut to the chase, right? Get rid of the long wait times, the high escalation costs, and just make sure that our users are more productive because we're getting to these issues more readily. So let's quickly take a look at the workspace demo. So a little 5-minute video.
Welcome to today's demo. Today we're going to take a look at the Ivanti Neurons workspace. We're going to look at the tools that we've provided for an IT support analyst to be able to be more efficient, solve incidents, and really improve user satisfaction with support by having all of the data and actions right at his fingertips that are required for him to get his work job done. We're going to take a look at the different views and tools that are available. So let's take a quick look. We'll start by looking at the device view. Here we are in the device view, and we also have a complete user view. These give us complete views of all of the users and devices that are in our enterprise. So let's take a look at a specific user. So if Max walks up, or I have an incident from Max, I can deep link in from my incident, or I can come and browse and find Max. Now quickly I can start to see what devices Max owns, his Active Directory status, his group membership, as well as I can take actions. I can reset his password, unlock the account. I can change his group membership very quickly. You also see it's linked right into service management. I can see the incidents that are open, how many he's had in the last 30 days, and all of the details that go there. So for a support analyst, for me to be able to come in and see, I can see instantly, hey, he has no Azure Active Directory groups. This may be why he's having an issue. I can see the names of the groups that he's associated with. Now this is being loaded in real time directly from the directory so that we know that we're in sync and able to correctly help Max. Now the same comes true from a device. If we step over and we start to talk about the devices that a user has, I can take a look and let's find my device. Here we are. I'm going to look at the Windows 10 device. This particular device has been reported and my user has said, hey, I'm having an issue. Now, many times in a support world, we start to ask the user a lot of questions. And many times some of the questions we have, the user doesn't actually even know the answer to. So here we are and we can take a look. And instantly you can see I have real-time data. I know the state the device has been logged out of. It's been up for a little while. I can see its processes and services. I know the context of the device. I know the experience that my user's having, and I can even drill in to this in depth. I can see the files that are running, CPU, memory, their device IDs. I can sort, find, and I can look for those items that are there. I can drill in and say, hey, what's its reputation? Who signed it? Where did it come from? I could select one and I could say, hey, I want to stop this process. So I have full process visibility as well as actionability on that. And the same comes true with services. So from a support analyst, without interrupting my user, I've been able to come in and interact with the user's system, understand the user's experience without having to interrupt their workflow. Now, from views and processes, that's great. I also can see the location. I can see the incidents, number of incidents open the last 30 days. I can drill directly into these. This is a full circle of, from an incident viewpoint or from a support viewpoint, I can see what's been going on. In today's world of COVID, it's very common that many of our end users are working from different locations. One of the challenges that's been very high, and come to a lot of that, is around networking. It's very difficult for us to always understand the impact of what's going on. So if a user reports to us that they're having trouble connecting to a location or the performance is not correct, it's very easy for us to come in and from this device, from their device's viewpoint, we can actually run and look at what's going on in their environment. Here you can see I ran a netstat. I can see what's connecting to. I can run a ping. From that device, I can go and run this. Now the great part is I haven't had to do remote control. I haven't had to interrupt my end user. I can do the gathering of information about this device, collecting all of it back while it's going on. And oh, there we go. You can see that I have an issue where I'm unable to ping. So it's very powerful for us to be able to come in and use these tools to be able to detect what's going on. Our goal was to make sure that we have a single pane of glass that the IT analyst can see what he needs, whether it be the patches that are missing, the patches that have been installed, as well as being able to come in and select which ones should be installed, the software that's installed on the device, the end of life. I can get to the detailed view about every different one. As we talk about the Neurons platform, it's powered by a rich discovery engine. We can come in and find and see, here's its Active Directory status. I haven't had to go to my directory. I can look at all of the different capabilities that have come. Here's my service management status. Here's the incidents that this device has been associated with. Very powerful there. At the same time, I can get right down into, hey, what's the BIOS and what's the network adapter? What's its all of its settings and its MAC address. So this gives us that very rich capability from an inventory and a collation of all the data from those sources. Now, aggregated into that is our real-time capability. We can in real time go and investigate the device. This is powered by the neurons of edge intelligence. As we look at that edge intelligence, it gives us ability across an MQTT protocol to really know what's going on. We can get hardware, software, security data all in real time. Whether we were looking for a battery, smart drive information, these data can be pulled in. Now, the thing that you can see very quickly is I actually can gather this data more efficiently than if I was even on the device. So this becomes very powerful from the capabilities of an analyst. Now you can see over here we have other capabilities such as execute script. I can create incidents in the service desk. I can update an incident, run a remote control. Integrated into this workspace is a full remote control. All of these actions are fully capable and here by default. But in my environment as an IT, we may find that I need to be able to do something custom. If I have an issue with a web server, maybe my SAP web service is having some issues. That's not something my level 1 knows how to troubleshoot, but I can use the Neurons on-demand capability to come in and build customized workflows. We'll take a look at these for the level 1 to be able to run and create and knowledge. So here we test website reachability, we test latency, we filter and we determine if we need to create a ticket. Now I haven't had to train my level 1 all of the steps to determine if the web server is having an issue, but if there is, they run the troubleshooter, creates the ticket, automatically directed to the right person. So on-demand capability is very powerful. Now those are not just out of the box. We have a full capability to build inside of our workspace. We can build these on-demand workflows. As we come in and look here, you can see we can query. All of those are out of the box queries. We can take actions and we can use the filters to determine. Now, if something action is not there that you need, we can do PowerShell. If there's a query that you need that's very custom, we leverage OS query to be able to build robust and custom capabilities. So as we talk about being able to really be hyper efficient, reduce resolution times, the Ivanti Workspace, Neurons for Workspace, really provides a single pane of glass that can enable IT support analysts to be hyper efficient. Thank you for attending our webinar today.
There we go. So that was just a fantastic overview of what we can do with Workspace, and Rex, who's actually the product manager, senior product director for the Neurons platform, also introduced us to Neurons for Healing, right? So this is an edge where we can go and say, hey, we need to automate a lot of our mundane tasks. We need to have a look at how we can reduce those costs of delivering services, and we need to increase efficiencies, right? So healing is all about that. That's you know, it's this army of automation bots, if you want to call them, like little nanobots, going about to proactively, you know, detect, diagnose, and also remediate. So really great set of capabilities around that. Let's just quickly go and have a look at the next video on that. Thank you.
In the following demo, we'll take a look at Ivanti Neurons for Healing and how it can help IT solve common pervasive challenges across different discipline areas of IT. Typical challenges reported by IT departments are the lack of automation of repetitive tasks, the high cost of delivering IT services, and poor efficiency, accuracy, and compliance. Let's have a look how Neurons for Healing can help. Neurons for Healing are automation-powered bots that perform tasks to free up staff time and proactively fix issues to improve compliance, user productivity, business continuity, and resource optimization. Thanks to a vast array of pre-built content, customers can get up and running in just minutes with no code experience required. Each of these categories contain healing neurons that IT can use to automate repetitive tasks. We prefabricate a number of neurons to provide a rich out-of-the-box experience, which helps IT get up and running quickly. If we look in Neurons for Compliance, for example, we can see capabilities which let us take automated action against scenarios such as missing disk encryption, incorrect UAC settings, or critical security events on devices. If we look in user productivity, we can automate healing actions against scenarios like application crashes or low disk space scenarios. Now, healing might involve applying corrective logic to eliminate or work around a problem, or it might involve the invocation of business processes to automatically empower the correct resource to mitigate the issue. Let's take a closer look. At the heart of Neurons is a powerful workflow engine, which provides a low code / no code interface to quickly and easily tailor functionality to meet the organization's needs. A user can start by modifying the existing out-of-the-box neurons to review and edit any required parameters before choosing how they want them to run. Or they might choose to create a new one, leveraging our expansive library of available content to build powerful capabilities in seconds. Whether you want to take automated action against scenarios like failing laptop batteries, failing hard drives, overheating devices, poor login times, or you just want to consolidate your existing detection and mitigation scripts, Neurons for Healing can help. Neurons can be run on demand, which is where they're invoked manually as and when needed by an administrator, or they can be configured to run automatically to a schedule based on definable settings. So let's take a closer look at this example of a healing neuron. Keeping on top of disk space can be a challenge for IT admins. If they've been proactive to date, it normally involves running reports, contacting the owners of devices to alert them to low disk space issues. And this, of course, prevents the admins from working on higher value projects. So let's see how we might empower an admin to get their time back by offloading this work onto Ivanti Neurons for Healing. So if we click on the free disk space stage, we can see that the required parameters have been configured to choose the drive letter we want to check and the percentage of free space threshold. So if the C drive has less than 20% free space available, the criteria for this query will be met. We're then going to attempt to automatically heal this low disk space condition by cleaning up old content. This is going to delete content from temporary locations and empty the recycle bin of content that's older than the configurable age in an attempt to clean up disk space. Once the cleanup process is completed, we're then going to perform a reassessment of available disk space. At this point, if we were able to successfully reclaim disk space, the workflow would stop here. But in the event the automatic cleanup couldn't heal the low disk space condition, we can use these filters to apply conditional logic as to what happens next. So in this example, we're providing conditional actions based on the severity of the issue. So if the amount of free disk space remaining is between 6 and 20%, we perhaps want to display a pop-up message box in the user's session, advising them to manually clean some disk space. If, however, the remaining disk space is between 0 and 5%, then the issue is going to be more critical, as devices with low disk space are much more likely to experience performance and stability issues. In this case, we're going to automatically create a support ticket in Ivanti Service Manager, using variables to pass through the affected devices. All we have to do from now is from the settings is we can choose the target device groups we'd like this to apply to. And optionally, we can configure and enable the schedule as to when this job will automatically run. So not only is this going to free up time so the IT admin can now focus on more valuable tasks, it also boosts user productivity by automatically healing disk space as it becomes low and giving the user early notice to take action. So let's have a look at this in use. So we can run this manually by clicking the Run Now dialog. We can override the default groups and we can click Run Now. And this is going to use our edge intelligence technology to go out and reach thousands of endpoints in just a few seconds. We've already got the results back. We already know which devices are experiencing low disk space, and we can monitor the performance of this in real time. So we can see the devices came back. We could see the automation cleanup. If we wanted to, we could find out exactly which files have been cleaned up. And we can see that in this case, we've displayed a message onto the device. And if we go across to the device, we can see here that, hey, we've got action required. Please delete any old content or contact IT if assistance is required. Finally, we can see an audit trail of all actions that have been performed across all neurons, which is accessible from the Neurons home screen. That concludes this demo.
There we go. So a great option for us to start having a look at how we can do that auto remediation across those common issues. So the big one that we're going to have a look at for next time, and I just wanted to introduce you to the concept of it, is our spend intelligence. So all the data that we're gathering from our hardware and software information, we're normalizing all of our software. And what we want to do is we want to be able to say, we want to give you that visibility of your software. We want to give you visibility of what that software install base and your Microsoft license statements looks like, so that at the end of the day, we can circumvent you having to spend hours trying to manage those contract renewals, reconcile the vendors, and see what your application spend is. So what we really want to be doing is allowing you to have a look at your reclamation options and to reclaim those unused licenses, etc., without having a complex SAM tool, right? This is just taking our Neurons platform, leveraging spend intelligence, and allowing us to have a look at that. So that's coming in our next session, which Simon will have a talk to just now. Over to Manoj.
Thanks, Paul. That was really, really good stuff. I think really good things coming down the line from the Ivanti product roadmap itself. So, team, you're speaking to Manoj Keshav, product manager for the Ivanti technology itself, and I'd like to take you through some of the market trends. So, we have all heard some of the new buzzwords in the marketplace, things like service automation, service orchestration. But what does this mean, and why service orchestration or automation is important? So let's talk about traditionally. Traditionally, ITSM tools used to offer workflow automation capabilities to help people within their processes, and this helped progress the efficiency as far as possible. It certainly saved organizations both time and money, allowing to deliver higher quality of service and support. But there's still more that can be done to reduce and regain the time wasted on repetitive tasks, such that the support staff can be freed up to improve end user experience and create additional business value. The opportunity is here and has landed. So let's talk about what can we do. Automate the delivery of low-level services. The benefits include between 10 and 40% of service resolution of service requests and incidents, self-service to facilitate business users with quick resolution with auto back-end fulfillment, cognitive capabilities to auto-classify, auto-route incidents, and auto-classification of tickets via email and chat. So these are some of the benefits that we'll be able to realize with regards to service automation and orchestration. Oh, next slide, please. So on the flip side, we also understand that people like to talk to people, and this is one of the Ivanti capabilities as well, which is called Ivanti Voice. Although the world is digital, Ivanti have a voice offering with a robust telephony system that offers software-based switching platforms for existing telephony networks and integrates with the Ivanti ITSM tool. Having voice automation will direct you to the correct person with the correct skill set for quicker response, thus enhancing the customer and end user experience. The Ivanti voice benefits include automated call distribution, integrated voice response, and skills-based routing. It also includes improved caller experience, increased agent productivity, Ivanti offering you an integrated end-to-end solution. Now, I know most of you are already Ivanti customers, and this is something that I would definitely recommend that we look into to see how this would enhance your current end user experience. Next slide, Paul, please. So another buzzword that we hear within the marketplace today is something called hyper automation for IT processes. This is around AI ops, RPA, machine learning, and all of these technologies are trends that we've heard over the last couple of years. And companies are struggling to keep up with the fast pace that things are changing. So lots of customers are adopting RPA in hybrid cloud architecture. What is RPA? Robotic process automation. This is crucial to achieve hyper automation in an organization. Software robots are used to automate mundane and repetitive tasks by emulating human interaction with digital systems. So this being said, Blue Turtle have products, skills, and solutions that we would be able to talk to and explore with our customers to discuss and identify your service management strategy and what we would be able to help you in this ever-changing, fast-paced world. Or next slide, please. Talking about some of our customer success stories and the work that we've done so far. A government entity required a system to validate personal details of the person contacting the division to update a supplier profile. The person required to be validated against the registered contact database of the CSD. So what we've done utilizing the Ivanti platform is we've created a web-based service to invoke and validate the registered supplier on the CSD database and the contact person, so that we understood that if they were allowed to make any changes, and if they were allowed, we then log the call. The call is then logged via pre-configured templates. The call is then associated with tasks via Ivanti automatically populating all mandatory information, and is automatically assigned to specific groups for the changes to be executed. So the customer realized the following benefits. Only authenticated people were allowed to log requests for changes to the supplier database itself, reduced room for error, and assigned to the correct division, thus protecting sensitive information. And we can all agree that, if there's data leak or anything, it is a massive problem for business, and it also creates issues with regards to reputational damage and so forth. So it definitely brings about some of the business value. Another key area is, for next slide, please. Another key area in the customer that we've worked with is a telecommunications company, and integrated their current Ivanti platform with a third-party SMS channel. This to send SMSs to technicians for when a call is logged, basically so that they understand there's an outage, with quicker response and resolution times, as the technicians are either not always available on the customer side or may not be always available on email. They opted not to use the mobile application, as most of the technicians did not have smart devices. So the solution that we basically provided to them was utilizing out of box the web service to consumer process HTTP, expose the API and to the SMS gateway, and send out the SMS notification. SMS notifications were also not sent to a single individual, but to multiple stakeholders, to ensure that the incident is being attended to in a timely manner for the quickest resolution path. The benefits that this customer realized is quicker turnaround times to respond, outage resulting in financial loss, therefore speedy resolution is financial benefit to the business. And then moving on to the last slide. Another government institution had requested for automatically discovering inventory across the entire network. This due to the lack of visibility and control of their devices. As again, a solution that we then presented to them was Ivanti's EPM. This to gather all of the inventory across all of the different network ranges within their environment, and configure data imports for this information to be then absorbed within their current ITSM solution. So enhancing the asset management capabilities. The benefits that this customer had seen out of this was now that they have complete visibility of all the devices connected to their network, and they have the ability to log a call against any one of these devices should there be an outage. 30% reduction in call duration due to problem device investigation. So they've even managed to reduce their response times by about 30%. And that brought about great business value to their organization. That pretty much wraps it up for me. And then moving on to questions and answers. Like I've said before, customers, please feel free to reach out to Blue Turtle. We have the relevant skills, the relevant products, and we are more than equipped to help you on your ITSM journey. And we look forward to chatting to you soonest. Thanks, guys.
So hi, everybody. We do have one question for the panelists with regards to the facilities management that Paul presented. The question was the assets and non-IT assets and IT assets, is that integrated into the asset management module?
Yes, yes, it is. Thanks, Rex. That's a great question. So the asset management capabilities, which is an add-on to the service management bundle, opens up both non-IT assets as well as IT assets.
All right, great stuff. From what I can see, we don't have any other questions from the audience. I think, don't know if Simon's going to close it off. He is. He's there.
Yeah, thanks, Rex. So Paul, thank you for the presentation. I think very interesting. I noticed you did slip in there a little bit about the asset management and ITAM. So that's great, and the license management. And I think, our next session, which we plan to have towards the end of March, beginning of April, so kind of month and a half, depending on the calendars, we'll be more focused on that ITAM space, what is happening in that space, the offering that Ivanti has, and of course, how you as customers can benefit from that technology. So if there are no more questions, I'd just like to say thank you very much for attending. We will be sending you a little survey at the end for those that can please, for all of you, please respond to that. It's always good to get feedback, get an indication of, did you enjoy the event? Was it useful to you? And any comments or issues you had, we try to address these in the new age where we can't meet face to face. We want to be able to give the best experience ever. So, please, if you can, just take a few minutes just to respond to that. That would be great. And on top of that, please give, if there's some specific topics or items, I think there will be a free text field in the survey. Please, let us know. And if it's a worthwhile, and we see that a few people have asked for something similar, one of the future events can focus on those areas, or even the next one, if it's relevant. So thank you all once again for attending. And as Manoj has said, and Paul and myself at the beginning, please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We will also be making the presentation available. I'll just confirm, well, I know that will be made available. I'm not sure if it will be emailed or on some sort of link, but you should have that in the next couple of days. So thank you very much all, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, everybody.